What's going on, everybody? It's your boy C-Zar, and we are talking about Hzen, BCHG, and LTCN at the request of Brian M. I've got you written down as the requester, but also there's a bunch of people who requested LTCN and BCHG as well. So I always write the first person to request its name down, though. So all the people who I said I would write or I would do a video for you, I'm still doing it for you. I don't go through all the people's names because it's not the point of the video. The point of the video is not for your vanity. It's for the charts, but I do give vanity allowance to the first person to request it. So Brian M, one last time, shout out to Brian. Anyways, guys, let's get started here. Hzen, yeah, moving up. Yes, Brian, you're right. It kind of, this is looking like what we want to see, right? But we have been here before, and we've even been here another time. And could this be just another shit on the shish kebab? I don't know, you know. I don't think it is. I do think that we are going to move up higher. I think we're going to break this trend with this. I think that is the low, but time will tell. Very weak in the RSI, quite a very low point on the daily right there. If we look at this low to this high, we went all the way down to our 1618, perfect area, and we've snapped back up to the 618. It's very critical that you break through this 618, okay? Now, I want to say, when I say it's critical, you can do this. Nothing wrong with that. You can find resistance there. You can reject it. I would not like to see you break below the 886. Really, if you did, I just wouldn't want to see you break below the 100. But like this area, just try not to mess with it. You'd want to, if you reject this, find support there or off the 786 or consolidate a little bit, whatever. Just it's pretty critical to get above the 618 at $4.12. Okay, so do that. I don't like your volume. I don't like it at all. But whatever, it's a V-shaped recovery, so that's nice. Looking at it as a V-shaped recovery, which it kind of looks like it is, to be fair, the way that V-shaped recoveries work technically is like you go a little bit. I've seen multiple definitions of this. So either you go to the formation of the V, or you go just above where the V formed, and that's speculative, right? Let me show you what I mean, right? So like this kind of looks like a V-shaped recovery, kind of, right? But it didn't go all the way back up here. But did the V start there, or did it start like right here? And in which case it went very close to that area actually, but it just fell short. Nothing's perfect, right? This, I don't know if that's a V-shaped recovery. These are too small. Right here, here's a V, right there, definitely a V-shaped recovery. But it didn't go all the way back up here. And did the V start back here? I mean, I think there's a case to be made for a yes. Maybe it's a failed move up. Or maybe it was just going off of this V here, you know, where you had your little, right there, your little V, and then you went up higher. Right? And maybe it's an inverse head and shoulders, whatever, but V-shaped recovery nonetheless. This V-shaped recovery could have started right here, in which case maybe you just go a little bit above and you find resistance and you go down and you're at just another lower high. Could be true as well. Maybe this V started all the way up here and you're destined to go up higher and then finally break the trend and get a new high. It's hard to say, but just going off the V-shaped recovery alone, I got stuck on that for a little bit. Sorry. Getting back to the main things that I talk about on a daily RSI perspective, we are above the 50. We are in a downtrend. Breaking above the 60 is awesome. It would be awesome to see in this RSI. Getting above the 618, getting above this high obviously would be great as well. You look like you want to move higher, so I'm not... I don't have a problem with the idea of you going higher. Just do it. Don't let this lack of volume slow you down. Hopefully you are moving up with little volume, and hopefully it doesn't like hold you back. Sometimes that can be bad, but sometimes there's just no liquidity, especially on something like this. There's just no liquidity, so price keeps moving up because the only people that are interacting are people who are buying, and there's no one else who wants to sell, so price is just moving up slowly, and then all the people that thought they'd get a second chance here or here, it gets to this breaking point, it finally breaks, and then people just FOMO and send this thing up. Then the volume really does come out. It would definitely be bad, I think. The volume right now, I don't have a problem with it. I'd like to see more volume coming in as you're moving up, but whatever. I would, however, say that it would be a bad thing if you break this line and there's no volume. Like if you get up here and no volume at all, you see a move like this and there's no volume at all until you get like the set like that. I wouldn't like to see that. So when you do break the trend, volume. We need volume. That's when we really need it to come in. So the more the merrier, whatever. But anyways, Hzen, I think it is moving up. All that to say, if it moves down, You don't want to see it go below $3.17. Okay, that's the best I could say. You do want it to get above $4.02. Get above there now. Do it. Do it. I think it was a different fib though that we were looking at, right? It was this fib, yeah, $4.12. Get above that one. Just make it easy for us all and get above 420. Okay, that's HZen. BCHG. You know, actually, let's look at Zen real quick, just to see if that confirms, right? If Zen, yeah, Zen looks like it wants to move up too, actually. Did it hit its 886? Deep retracement, bro. Very deep retracement. Consolidated below the 618, got back above it. I like what you're doing. I don't mind the RSI. It doesn't look the best, but I don't mind it. 4 hour looks productive, yes. Price action looks productive. Looks like it wants to move higher. 1 hour looks fine, yeah. Weekly, neutral, as is the price action. So yeah, I feel comfortable with saying Zen will move up too. So that goes well for HZen. BCHG. I feel like I had requests specifically pertaining to BCHG. Let me see here. Hold on. I'm going to turn you guys sideways, okay? C-Zar, please do a realistic video on what we can expect for BCHG, BCH long-term analysis by me, put us at 20K BCH or 750 BCHG. These numbers seem utterly unreachable at the current price points. I was a little sad to see my portfolio drop so much. When will coin season start? So far, it's been a bloodbath since April. Yes, it's been a bloodbath since April, and that was for Real Jesus Shalom, the Real Jesus Shalom. That's the username. Yeah, it was a bloodbath, and I wanted to go over that real quick. His comment, because I know that he was asking things specifically to BCHG. I want to make sure that I'm not forgetting other people too, because I saved some comments. Nope. Wait. Nope. Oh yeah, on that note, by the way, happy birthday to Hanan Levy, or Hanan Levi. Happy birthday, my friend. I think it's Hanan Levi. Yeah. To good things, yeah. And every year I say thank you to good things that happened in this year. And he says, so thank you, C-Zar, for everything. Thank you, man. I appreciate that. Happy birthday, my friend. A lot of people's birthdays in my life are actually around this time of year, so it's kind of funny. But anyways, let's get back to the task at hand, guys. We are talking about BCHG, and specifically, I want to go over Shalom's request here. 750 BCHG. Now, a lot of people, I know you guys are crazy people, right? You're all a little bit out there. I am too, okay? Because anytime somebody talks about the price predictions that I have for BCHG, the only things that they talk about are things that are like here or higher, right? Every single time I talk about the all-time highs, right? And this is real. Right, I've talked about going up above this price by the end of the year. I've talked about that. I'm aware of that. But go back and watch any video that I talk about the all-time highs. Every single time I mentioned this price, I mentioned this price, and I say the same thing in every video. I don't believe that's where it will stop. I don't believe that's where it will go. I feel the most confident in this price at 490. Now, recent analysis over the past like month or so, maybe it's like the last 2 months even, has led me to believe that you really could see prices above 490. But Shalom, for example, and I'm picking on you, but I'm not picking on you, my friend, right? A lot of you Grayscale people do this. You always pick these targets that are higher than this, and that's what it's good. It's good to be prepared to sell higher, right? You wouldn't want to sell here if the price goes here, right? Like that's a humongous difference. And you wouldn't want to sell there if the price goes up $200 from there, $250 from there, right? But this is the area that I'm focusing on. If I had to place a bet on where I thought BCHG will be by the end of the cycle, my safest bet, my best bet would be probably around $500. That's my thoughts. Not $1,400, not $1,000, not $750, not $230, $490, $500, somewhere around there. That's my personal expectation, and I say that every video. This is the most like specific I've been on it, but it's because of this comment inspired by Shalom, but just also everybody. Anytime we talk about the all-time highs, you guys always refer to the higher expectations that I put out. And they're still possible. They're there for a reason. They can happen. I don't deny. I wouldn't bet against them happening, but I wouldn't bet on them happening either, right? I would bet on us breaking 234, and I feel very confident that this will be the area that we top off on. But just enough of that. Going over that, the reason why I think we're going to be more than capable to get up here, why we're not going to be held down by these prices, and we are going to continue to move up, is because Bitcoin Cash itself, if it does this, and I think it will do this, has been in a consolidation phase its whole life. It's neither a downtrend or an uptrend, right? You can say it's a downtrend because it has lower highs, but if that's the metric you're going off of, then I could say it's in an uptrend because it has higher lows. This line is not as steep of a slope as the down line is, but it is positive nonetheless. So to say it's in a downtrend or an uptrend, both of those are lies. It's a consolidation phase. And the point of me saying this is that when Bitcoin Cash breaks out of this consolidation phase, it will likely go above last cycle's high. This high, by the way, happened in May of 2021, where this high for BCHG happened in December, okay? December was all the way back here, okay? So we're already at the prices that we were at for BCHG when it was at its all-time highs, okay? We're already there. So if BCH continues to go up here, these will be the highest prices and beyond, especially beyond. These will be the highest prices that BCHG has been exposed to with the native asset, right? While it's been in a bull market, okay? Whenever it gets above this high, whenever it breaks out. And I very much do believe the reason why I'm talking about getting above this high is because when we break this consolidation phase, I don't think it's going to be like this and then it's done, right? That's not, you don't break a consolidation phase that's lasted multiple cycles like this that you've definitely respected each time, significant respect each time. Absolutely, there's no deny, like it is perfect. It's perfect. You do not break that. And you can. I'm saying you don't. You could get a fake out. You could. But okay, let's just be realistic here. Likely, anything can happen, but likely you would break through this one. You'd break through that high. Okay. Absolutely, I think you're going to go above there. But the real question is, where's BCHG going to top off? Because it's not going to top off at the same time that BCH tops off, right? I'm calling for a 20K price in BCH, and that's based off of the consolidation range as a whole, from the high of the range to the low of the range, which happens to be the all-time high to the all-time low, giving it significance on the significance, in my opinion. 13K, again, I know I emphasize this 23K level a lot, but don't get me wrong, 13K. If 13K got hit and that was the all-time high, I'd be like, man, I was waiting for 23K, but I still had been calling 13K for over a year. You guys know I have. I mention it every video. I never overlook 13K. I always say, and I very heavily emphasize the 20K, 23K area. I absolutely do. That's my preferred area, my expected area. But 13K could hit, all right? Regardless of that, wherever we go, based on this trend, which I think we're going to break, and we're going to see some phenomenal growth whenever it happens, by the end of 2025, somewhere around there, right? When we're in this area, when will Bitcoin Cash Grayscale Trust, when will that have topped, right? Because it will likely not top at the same point. This topped in May, where BCHG here topped in December. It had another top in May as well, so we could expect a top perhaps, like if BCH tops, let's just say in October, based off this in October of 2025, by the way, right? Let's just say, yeah, I was going to say August, but let's actually get it to October. Let's just say it's in October. Then maybe BCHG tops off in June. I don't think it's going to be 5 months like it was last time. I don't think it'll be May. So let's just say June, July, whatever. If BCH tops off at 23K, that's my assumption, right? Let's just say 23K, and that happens to be in October, then sometime in July or June, whenever, or maybe it's April or May, when BCHG tops off, where will Bitcoin Cash be? If it's here or here by the end of the cycle, likely it'll be somewhere closer to here, right? Which is still phenomenal growth from this current price, or maybe it's somewhere in this land of the blackness, in between the 1272 and the 100, between $4,300 and $13,000. Maybe it's there, but it's probably not going to be here by the time that BCHG tops off, not by the time in July, right? We're going to have our last like end of the cycle run between now and then, and BCHG will probably top off. Grayscale will probably fuel offloading, some of their BCH will probably fuel the fire to it going up, right? They're going to offload, and the BCH, that's my assumption, is that people take profits in their trusts. Maybe they roll it into the actual asset, or maybe they're just de-risking from the markets as a whole beforehand, because the premiums run crazy, right? So I don't know why, but I am assuming that the high for this cycle happens before the high of the underlying asset as it did last time. I just think it's going to be closer this time, right? And the fact that we had two highs, both on LTCN and BCHG, one that was 5 months before, and another high, a slightly lower high, but it's like a double top of a high that was at the high, gives me hope that even if we do drop 4 months, 5 months, 8 months, maybe if I'm wrong and it's earlier instead of closer to the high, it's earlier, whatever time frame we have our high, it gives me hopes that when the underlying asset does pump more, that will lift this up a little bit, give people an opportunity to get out again, stuff like that. So, maybe it reaches for 500 or something like that, 800 right there. Maybe it goes for $800 just right there. And then it crashes, right? And then BCH keeps going up. It has its cycle finale. It keeps going higher. BCHG comes back up. Maybe you can't sell it at 800, but you get to sell it at like 550, right? Something like that by the end of the cycle. Or maybe it's, over here, whatever. Maybe it's nothing like this. I'm only going off of the one cycle that we have, but it's hard. It's kind of hard to assume, but this is all we have to assume off of, right? And don't expect the exact same behavior. It might not be as close. We might not get like the next attempt, the second high. It might not be a double top. It might be a significantly lower high. It doesn't look that significant, but from a high point here to a high point here, that is a 30% difference. It's pretty damn significant, right? But no, I don't think that BCHG reaching $750 is impossible. I don't think that that's unrealistic. I get why it sounds unrealistic. It's at $685 now. $750 is a ways away. I get it. But from a low point here to a high point here, and this was toward the end of the cycle, right? We're getting toward the end of the cycle now. Specifically, this is October 2020. The halving for Bitcoin happened in May of 2020. So that was 5 months, right? 5 months before the high itself. Or no, sorry. The halving was 5 months before this move up, okay? Our halving was in April 20th. April, so May, June, July, August. We're in August right now. It's 4 months, That's all I'm trying to say is like comparing it to this part of the cycle. This was 5 months after the halving. Here we are 4 months after the halving. If we were to see this exact same move from a low to a high in the same amount of time, this would take us from here, and it's 4 months instead of 5 months, but the close is close enough. That would take us to new all-time highs right there, $77 by October of this year is what it would do. By the end of this year, you'd be at $77. Now, if you're at $77 by the end of this year, my question would be, does 750 sound so unlikely then? Does 500 sound so unlikely then? Do these new all-time highs at these given Fibonacci extensions sound so impossible then? I don't think they do. They sound impossible now because we're not above our highs, right? It's all a theory, and it might not happen. Nothing's guaranteed. We get above that 886, I'll be very convinced. There's nothing in the world that would convince me otherwise that'll happen, that won't happen. And even then, it still might not happen. But my train of thought is going off right now. I'm trying to bring it back on the rails. Okay, so from a low point here, if in the course of literally from August to October, you can move from a low of 533 to potentially $77, right? Again, because you've seen this exact same percentage move in this exact same amount of time, but just at a lower price to a high price, but it was a lower, it's just at different ranges. But it's the exact same move, right? I'll show you, right? Low to high. Oh, come on, get the high. 1328, 1320, it's the exact same move. They're the same, they're twinsies, right? And this has happened again. This happened 5 months after the halving. Here we are 4 months after the halving. The cycle was robbed last time, in my opinion. We got a little bit robbed, and we were supposed to continue, but we didn't. The bull cycle ended for a lot of cryptos earlier than it should have. And that probably is true with BCHG as well, that they had their private sales. A lot of things got unlocked around this time, so people were able to sell. I don't know, but all the theory that I'm trying to say, through all the confusing words that I'm laying out, is this is a similar time frame in the bull cycle to where we are now. 5 months after the halving, 4 months after the halving. Okay, we didn't have any price action to go off of back here, but just time frame in the cycle wise, we saw this exact move here from a low point to a high point at this point in the cycle, around the same time in the cycle, technically a little later. So that would imply that by the end of this year, new all-time highs are totally achievable. New all-time highs is $77. I know I'm repeating myself a lot, but I'm just trying to get the message through. If we could do that, if we could move from $5 below $6 here in August, $5.33 to $76 by October, by the end of the year, could we not, if that's over a 10x, that's a 14x right there, could we not then see another 10x, another 14x, whatever? That's like a little bit over a 10x right there by January of 2025, by March of 2025, by July of 2025. You know what I mean? Like by later dates than that, I think we could. And these comments, and it's not just you, Shalom. I'm picking on you because you're the one that I have saved. And I'm not even picking on you, right? But a lot of you have, and you know who you are, because a lot of you have left comments, hit me up in the Discord. I've seen it in Ethan's Discord. I've seen it in Ethan's comments on his video. A lot of people are discouraged. But all these comments, you guys, came out really here. None of it came out here. None of it came out any of this time. It came out right at the end. Just like last time, just like the time before that. You know, it's cyclical. It's the same thing. And look at, if you notice with these lows where they come in, look, right? Like this is where it is. It's all cyclical. It's all in line with itself. This is actually a really good point to buy, right? I like to play that mental game with, and I'm not picking on anybody specifically by saying that. I just think that a lot of people are discouraged at this time. That's really what I'm trying to say. But if you play the mental game with yourself, that you did this perfectly. You're the best trader in the world. You bought down here, you sold up here, you bought the low, you sold up here. If you had played this game so perfectly and bought and sold and bought and then sold, would you be happy with buying here? Would you be happy with connecting the dots more or less and buying right there? It seems pretty perfect of an area in my opinion. And on the weekly RSI, you're at the weakest point that you've been this whole cycle, this whole cycle since the low here, right? Since this low, this is the weakest that you've been, and yet it's your highest low. You've cooled way the hell off. It's your highest low. I think it's time to move up. I really do think it's time to move up. And whenever I call for those high prices, whenever it was a year ago, right? Whenever Bitcoin BCHG was at prices that were like, because when did I start talking about it? Around here, between like whenever Ethan first recommended it, 260 to 120, somewhere in here. When I was calling for these same price targets, all the way up to 250, 400, even $1,000, were all listed. You can go back and watch. It seemed unlikely to me. It's still in my heart. I get it. It sounds crazy. I get it. But the charts don't lie. The numbers don't lie. The indicators are pointing at these for a reason. And the reason why I do believe it's happened, even though I see it as crazy myself, is because I've seen this, guys. I've seen this happen dozens, more than dozens of times, plenty of times, a plethora of times in crypto specifically. And with the Grayscale Trust, we've seen it happen tenfold, right? So if this is the cycle, going back to BCH here, that we break out of this consolidation phase, I have no doubts that BCHG can do some crazy things. I have no doubts that the people who bought at like the high points over here at 95 cents could walk away with like a 500 and something X. You know what I mean? Like no doubt. No, there's no doubt in my mind. Now, a lot of people didn't buy back here, and they might not have held this whole way through, or maybe they bought a little bit and they've held all the way through, but they didn't buy a lot until it started showing itself, and then they started to put heavier amounts in, whatever. But still, that's a solid amount of gains, and it sounds crazy, but you guys, this is crypto. Crazy stuff like that happens. And I would argue that any person that has a hard time wrapping their head around this, either one, hasn't looked into the Grayscale Trust themselves and hasn't seen the premiums, or two, this might be their first cycle. And again, I'm not picking on anybody. I'm not trying to start a fight or get anybody upset with me. I'm just being blunt, right? And I can be wrong, but I'm just being blunt with my opinions. And it seems crazy until it happens. Until you've seen it, it seems crazy, right? It's like Santa Claus. I thought Santa Claus was crazy, but then I met him at the store, right? And took pictures with him, and I was like, it was crazy, man, but he's real. No, but it's 685. 685, you guys. Getting serious now. Daily RSI looks like it's at a point to turn around. We're hoping that it does. It's in a bit of a pennant pattern. Oh, it looks like it's breaking out, doesn't it? I think it is. Yeah, Brian M. I see what you're saying. Yeah, it's looking good, man. It's looking good. I think that's it. I think yesterday confirmed it, or this day confirmed it. Let's see how tomorrow goes. I'd like to see continuation. But I think you're breaking out of your pennant right now. And if you are breaking out of your pennant, well, maybe we can look at a relative fib. Get above 728, and it's on to 888, 944. You break above $11, and then it's on to like 1540 and beyond. And really, at that point, we're on to that magical highway up to, I don't know, new all-time highs, $60, $70, $80, $250, whatever, by the end of the year. $60 higher, something like that. Yeah. BCHG. Let's talk about LTCN. I know, guys, I droned on a lot there. Did a lot of talking. I'm going to put this on real quick. Shalom, I hope that answered your question. Brian M., I hope that was good enough. I know I did a lot of talking, but I hope nobody feels picked on or like called out. I'm not trying to baby you, but I know on the internet, you know, depending on the day that you wake up and watch this video, like it can come across the wrong way. You know, I want everybody to understand I'm not trying to attack anybody. I don't want to be attacked. If I am, I'll talk shit back, you know, but I'm not trying to instigate things. I'm an internet troll in my own right, but I do that on my private accounts, not my public accounts, man. Come on now. No, it's nothing but constructive criticism and love and just my genuine opinions. I'm not trying to talk smack to anybody. Again, unless they talk smack to me, but then, you know, then we can go back and forth on it, but whatever. Low to high, down to your 0.5, right around your 123 moving average. Man, I remember that's where I thought you were going to go here, and you didn't. It would have been perfect from a low to a high. You would have gone right to your 0.5 there as well. But hey, 0.5, 123, we did it. We ended up doing it, whatever. Okay. Weekly RSI looks pretty bad. I don't like it. But again, lowest points that you've been at with your highest low, technically speaking, right, and your highest closing low throughout the whole bull cycle. So lowest, yet your highest low, and yet your lowest low. That's a form of hidden bullish divergence, I think. And, you know, absolutely, this could be some kind of like cup and handle. I don't know if it is a cup and handle. You would take it in a linear, not a logarithmic, in which case it does not look like a cup and handle at all, so maybe not. But even if it's not a cup and handle, it does look to be at a relative low area, some kind of, I wouldn't call that a double bottom personally, but finding support in a key area nonetheless. I'd like to see you start moving up, and you are, but I'd like to see you move up more. You're out of the oversold zone. Nice. That's good. That's a good first step. From a relative low to high, 2272 is hit. Your next goal is get above your 1618 at $13.02, and then $15.02, and then $17.62, and then 1969. And when you've finally done that, when you're above 1970, then it's on. Then it's confirmed. There's no doubt that that's the low. Until then, and that's a lot to go until then, there's always that doubt, that debate if you could go lower. But I don't think you will. I don't think that you'll go lower. You could. Who cares what I think? But you got a lot of areas of support down here. Based off of this, and what was it? What was the 618 area of that last one? Oh, come on. I didn't save it, really. All right, well. 618. 1911. Oh, 1969. Okay. So that could be an area that you find resistance, right? You pull back to your 382 area. You go just above it. Very common. Find resistance around 1969, which is your 618 of this low here to this high, right? The 618 of that. Find resistance there. That's okay if you do, right? Maybe you go back down to your 236 and find support. Maybe you consolidate around your 382 and then you find support and move up. Either way, when you finally break this area, that's when you'll probably get that green light to go up to your $27.66 area. and beyond, right? By that time, you'll have established that this is your low. You'll have broken out of this downtrend, and we can really start to look at new highs, right? $88, $162, stuff like that. And I say new highs. They're not new all-time highs, but just new highs. Totally fair targets, 88 and 163 by the end of this next move, by the end of this year, I would think. But if we look at this thing for what it's worth, from a relative high here to a relative low, your next significant high was at the 1414, just above that. Very common this cycle in a lot of different cryptos. 1414. High to low here, discernible high to discernible low. Went up to your 2272, which also happens to be the 2272 that you hit from this low to high here. Anyways, showing respect on your 2272. That's all I'm geeking about right now. High to low, 2272 again, right? And then again, in case you missed what I was saying here, this low to high, that's not the low. Here's the low, 2272 again. So you found high to low, 2272 resistance, high to low, 2272 resistance, high to low, 2272 support. Kind of crazy, kind of cool. I love fibs, man. I love it. That's how you know, like, whoever is the market makers or whoever's trading this or in control, the manipulators of it, which they're not kind of, but I don't know. The bots, they have the 2272 programmed in, like whatever, that's their algorithm. That's what they're trading based off of. Or maybe it's just a coincidence, but 3 2272s at key areas each time, there's something got to be put in the algorithms, the trading bots that they're using or something like that. Or the market makers are looking at things. And maybe it's not the 2272, maybe it's other things that revolve around retracements that just happen to coincidentally be at the 2272, but I don't know if I believe that. All that to say, high to low, I don't think it's so far-fetched to ask for this to be your next price after a high. You got $12 now. If LTC, you guys, because LTC is in the same situation BCH is in, right? Why I think BCHG is going to do so well and why I've been more bullish on it is because we really start to come into the idea that you're going to break out of this consolidation phase you've been in for years. Well, LTC is in the same exact thing, right? It's been consolidating for years in itself. We'll go to all-time history, right? Moved up, consolidating for a long time. People always say Litecoin's in a downtrend, but that's not true. It's got higher lows. Even with that, that's still a higher low than this back here. And on this, it's actually got higher highs. Technically, it's in an uptrend, but it's consolidating. It's not an uptrend. Downtrend, uptrend, it's a lie. Either way, it's consolidating. And if LTC breaks out of this accumulation phase that it's in and starts to get going, and when it breaks this, it's going to be phenomenal. Absolutely, LTCN could go all the way up to $519 by the end of this year. Absolutely, it could. Now, do I think that's going to happen? Would I bet that that's going to happen? I might not bet that that's going to happen, but it wouldn't be crazy. Previous all-time highs, 2272, an area you've been respecting. The one thing that draws me back from that, besides the fact that that is an insane climb in a very short amount of time, is the fact that the 2272s that you hit each time were based off of smaller fib retracements, right? Smaller, right? This is a pretty big one from high to low. You can just see the sheer size of this compared to any other fib I measured. This is bigger. With bigger fibs, sometimes you don't hit those deeper extensions. So, $88, 162. Coming in line with the top area of this consolidation phase here, at the low point, that's at about $100 itself. I would bet you do break 88. You probably reach 113 or higher. But let's stay focused on that 113 to 162 area for your next time. Maybe even 260, maybe 320. 519 is not crazy. I've given my reasons why it's not crazy. But my genuine belief is that it won't achieve this on its next high. It will achieve this inevitably, but maybe not on its next high. But where I could see this really happening again is depending on how LTC breaks out of this accumulation phase. I mean, if by the end of the year, you guys, which would be like this, right? If LTC does some crazy stuff like this and just straight shoots up to its all-time high area, if it's like this, okay. Like if that's the positive reaction it has out of this accumulation zone that it's been in, which this is totally like, right? Like, hey, right there, boom. We've seen. Let me put this right over here. Right? It looks familiar, pretty familiar, right? A little bit more bullish, but hey, still accumulated less time over here. COVID times, different, maybe a more bullish market. Who knows? If it does this and it's over here by the end of the year, absolutely LTCN could be at these prices, at least 162. So there's a lot of ifs for LTCN, and they depend on LTC. But I have hopes, and I certainly do have hopes for prices above $100 on this next high. So $12 here, actually. Come here, you. Let me get you specific right on there. Let's just say it goes to its 1618 because I'm pretty confident it does that. Okay, let's do a minimum, right? Let's do the 1414. It's about a 9.5x. 9.5x. And I'm pretty confident that that's where its next high will be. BCHG, I'm pretty confident it's going to be above its all-time highs, but let's put it at its 1414 as well, at 44. It's a 6.5x, man. Even at the 1618, that's an 8x, almost a 9x right there. Just saying, guys, BCHG has been way more bullish than LTCN. From a low point to a high point, it went up 75x already this cycle. From a low point here for LTCN to the high point, it only did a 27x, right? 27x for 75x, very big difference. But again, you look at LTC, it hasn't done anything. LTCN's done a 27x, a 26x, and LTC hasn't done anything. BCHG doing the 75x, it's been moving up, right? I theorize that when LTC, and because it has less liquidity, when it finally starts doing something, LTCN we finally might see LTCN, all the LTCN people might finally be able to be like nana nana boo boo to you BCHG people and be like, hey, mine is moving up more now. It's, it actually is. And it kind of makes sense. It had the bigger dip. There's a lot of volume down here. That's a big wick, right? Like it might be at a better discount than BCHG is. Like it just might be the better option. And to get from its current price, if you're expecting new all-time highs at all for either of these stocks, the all-time high from here is 42.5x. And the all-time high from here is only an 8x, right? Like things like that are just basic ways to conceive like, okay, there might be more. And that doesn't mean that there's more potential in LTCN necessarily. But for the coming weeks, coming months, especially depending on what the underlying asset does, the tides might change. I'm actually open. I've been looking at this for the past few days, guys. Throughout like the last year and a half, however, it's been like a year and a few months, I guess, that I've been talking about these Grayscale trusts. I've always said I like BCHG more. At various points, I have said that I thought LTCN could go up more, but I would probably buy BCHG. I've always said that. But as the cycle's gone on, BCHG has turned out to be the shining star. I think LTCN is about to be the shining star. I really do. And I can be wrong. BCHG it might do great. Maybe I'm being too bearish on BCHG. Maybe I'm not being bullish enough on LTCN. Maybe they both outshine. Like, who knows? But, and BCHG's been dad this whole time. It's been doing great, as has BCH versus LTC. But we're about to see LTCN move up with LTC breaking out. That could cause a bigger increase in price in a shorter amount of time than we've seen at all this cycle. As dramatic as this felt, the upside might be even more dramatic. Like it genuinely is possible. So just be patient. I don't know what else to say. I feel like I'm just buttering your bread at this point, so I'm going to stop talking. I've given you the analysis. I hope you guys liked the video. If you did, hit that like button. Subscribe if you want to see more content like this. I am not just saying this. I 100% mean this, yes. I can hear some of you asking, and I'm not just saying this. I genuinely think from the current price of both BCHG at $6.85 and LTCN at $12 that by the end of the year, by the end of this year in 2024, not the end of the cycle, but by the end of the year, LTCN will greatly exceed the growth that BCHG sees. And I think BCHG is going to do great. I think BCH is going to do great. I don't think LTC will outgrow BCH, but I do think LTCN will outgrow BCHG. That's my theory, and that's something I've been kind of working on over the past few days. I didn't want to say it last night on the live stream because I wanted to bring it up here. But genuinely, just the more I look at it, and it depends, the fact that it's showing more weakness now, there's other ways you can look at it too, right? It's definitely showing more weakness from a low to a high to a low, 78%. From a high to a low, 83%, But, there's goods and bads. But I have a funny feeling, not so funny feeling, it's kind of serious, that I actually do think LTCN will see more growth from here, right? BCHG might be at new all-time highs by the end of this year. LTCN might not be, but it'll grow more percentage-wise. That's my thoughts. So anyways, HZEN could demolish all of them. It's HZEN, because it has such less liquidity, it could demolish all of them, right? To get to its previous all-time highs. Actually, that's only a 7x there. So maybe it is above its all-time highs by the end of this year. But who knows? Like, it could do a lot. It might not do anything. Like, it's hard to say, but this kind of looks like a cup and handle right here, to be completely fair. It actually really does look like a cup and handle. Wow. It's pretty perfect. Like, with this, if this was your cup start, right? Because that's your first month. That's your just crazy price mania. Right, like that'd be your cup, literally right there, right at the beginning, right here. This drop right there. You dropped right there. Cup. It looks like a cup and handle. It's not pretty. It's definitely not pretty. It's a big handle, but you can see it better, I guess, on the logarithmic scale. I don't know. Anyways, I'm just trying to say HSEN looks like it could do well by the end of this year too. It's hard to say. It's hard to say how much more it grows. It depends on the underlying asset as well. But anyways, guys, I'm done. I'm done talking. So with that, I leave you. If you liked the video, you know what to do. Hit that like button, subscribe, show some love for your boy, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Take care of yourselves. Seize the opportunity that's presented in front of you, right? It's these times. Play the game with yourself, man. This is just how I do it. I don't know if this is good. That's how I do it. It doesn't mean that it's gonna work for you. You might not. You might think this is just stupid. You're like, okay, that's not gonna help me. It's like whenever somebody tells you, "Oh, are you mad? Just calm down." That always helps me. Just take some deep breaths, and you're like, "Shut the." Like, I'm gonna break your face. You're telling me to take some breaths like I'm a 5-year-old. But for some people, taking some deep breaths, counting back from 10, that is what works. For me, this is what works. I play the mental game. If I did this perfectly, if I bought here and I sold here and I bought here and I sold here and I bought here and I sold here, it's not even a thought. It's like, obviously I would buy here. So why would anybody sell? And people have. And my condolences go out to them. You're probably not watching this video because you're probably crying in your bed. And that's no shade on anybody who actually did sell down here, you know. Especially if you're selling for profits, there's nothing wrong with that. But you know, maybe you bought the absolute low and then you sold up here for profits, whatever. Maybe you bought down here and this was too much for you and you're like, I'm out and I'm still taking profits. If you're taking profits, you're making money. Only the pros take profits. Anybody can make profits. So you're winning. But when I play that mental game with myself, it's literally not even a thought, right? If I sold up here and I went to sleep since March, I got in a coma and I just woke up and the price is here, I would be like, I'm upset the bank is closed right now and I can't put more money in it to buy. Like that, you know what I mean? Like it's so obvious. Where when you play the reality, the real game with yourself that's based in reality, it's not this foo-foo nonsense land of you being the perfect trader because nobody is. When you're based in reality, it's like you actually bought here, you actually bought here, you actually bought here, and you've been waiting on every single one of these pumps for it to be go time, and in reality, it just kept going lower, and you're feeling the pain, not because the price went lower, but because you can't buy here because you've already got an obligation at higher prices. And it's not, you're not even looking at this logically in the sense of like, oh, this is a good area to buy. You're looking at it as, oh, I'm down. It's red. Oh, this hurts. Is it ever going to go up? It's been so long. But really, it doesn't need much time to move up. All of this, as fast, as gruesome as it might have seemed, when it moves up, it moves. Look at how much faster it moved up already, right? And we're not even in the strongest part of the cycle. Same price points right here, just a little bit above, to be fair, right here, okay? But 1 week here, it took 5 weeks. 5 weeks to move up. And the same amount of time to move down to this price, to get down there, took 18 weeks. As fast as this seems, you're going to blink and we're going to be at new highs, okay? Just be patient. Be patient. And it's easier to say now that we've chilled for a little bit, but the reality of the matter is, guys, we could go lower. It's possible. We could go lower. So, and I will be preaching the same little pom-pom cheerleader pep talk down at these prices that I am here, right? Or if we keep going up, you know, until we break this trend, I think it's going to be necessary. And the best thing to do is not boo-hoo over the fact that it's gone down, but to look at it as an opportunity. You bought up here, you bought over here, you bought down here at a really good price. Really, you know, like any of these, probably past this point, any of these areas are actually good prices. It doesn't feel like it now, but really good prices. You bought wherever, right? Instead of thinking, oh, if I just waited or if I just sold these highs, I could have bought here, think, where's that extra $100 lying around? Do I like can I do something like a little side job? Does somebody need some work for some labor that I can like get some extra money? Put it in now, man. This is the time to get in. This is really the time to get in. And I'm really done with the video now. So hit that like button, subscribe if you want to see more content. I'm done. Appreciate you all. Take care. Bye-bye.